Okay, hey, MHayashi. Well, yeah, please like and subscribe, and you can always unlike and unsubscribe if you don't like it later on. But yeah, we're just gonna try the Zirda the Dawnbreaker this time build. Um, yeah, because I actually realized that somebody was interested in the mono white build, and originally I didn't realize, but I think they were specifically interested in the Zirda build. So let's give this one a try. And to be honest, this one has not been doing as well as the non-Zirda version. Surprise, surprise, but what's it called? Um, Solitude is pretty good. Losing Solitude obviously does affect the deck, but that being said, I don't think it makes as big of a difference as you might think at first glance. And one of the reasons why is that I think actually Dismember is a surprisingly good substitute for Solitude. It might seem a little odd, but the difference between 1 mana and 0 is, fairly close. I mean, one could argue that it's like an infinity of difference, but remember, Solitude is not strictly 0. It is a card in your hand, and that does matter. Dismember is 1 mana. It doesn't require a card in your hand. It does require 4 life, and that is potentially an issue, but it's cheap. It gets the job done. It doesn't ramp them. The sad reality is if we don't have Solitude, Dismember might be the best we can reach for. So yeah, that kind of is what it is. But yeah, and the other thing too is I really did like the yeah, and I'm not sure if I have a video showing this yet, but like I do think that Skyclave Apparition is probably the way to go, which means we can't play Kahira. Skyclave Apparition just being a body, dealing with most of the stuff that we need to deal with, including the One Ring and Ren and 6 and Grist and a lot of the most played Planeswalkers and the One Ring and a bunch of other stuff. And the fact that they don't get their stuff back if they deal with it, which is very important with that new Skies card. What's it called here? Some kind of try to look this up here. Yeah, Wrath of the Skies card. This card is quite a doozy. Yeah, and especially since our particular build wants to have a bunch of artifacts in play, because basically our card advantage backbone is the Mazemind Tomes and Reckoner Bankbusters. I know, very pioneery, but I mean, these are, spoiler alert, they're pretty good. Yeah, so like, I also especially like the way Bankbuster does also provide an additional creature for making a clock, but yeah, Mazemind Tome is still the better of the two. Draws one more card. Oftentimes the extra card is better than the treasure token plus the 1/1 token plus the 4/4 that can get crewed by the 1/1 token. Although that is a very nice little package, though. The main thing though is the ability to scry, and the gaining 4 life is not insignificant too. They're pretty comparable, but I think the general consensus is Bankbuster is better, but as usual, MHayashi just does his own thing, and I hard disagree. Mazemind Tome is infinitely better in my opinion. Okay, maybe not infinitely better, but I'd say it's about twice as good, in my humble opinion. And one of the main things is when you got a scry to like a land drop, for example, or a Wrath of God. It's so much better than Bankbuster. Anyway, yeah. What else to note here? 8 Wraths. At the end of the day, I'm just seeing so many creature decks. Even with the 8 Wraths, I'm not necessarily consistently winning. But like a lot of times, if I don't draw a Wrath, I just die. And the same way, I feel like if I don't draw a Mazemind Tome effect, which is why we're reaching for Bankbuster as well, I feel like I just die. So there you go. Like I feel like 8 Wraths, is the way to go. Now I have been giving some thought to Doomscar. It is kind of tempting because this card can be foretold on turn 2, and then can be cast for 3 later on. The downside to this, of course, is they see it coming, but it might actually be worth it though, because like sometimes even if they see it coming, like if they slow down, that is also value. You know what I mean? Like this is kind of either 3 mana destroy all their stuff on turn 3, and a lot of times turn 2 we would just have to take off playing a Mazemind or a Bankbuster, which there's something to be said about that being, especially since sometimes we have to use these to scry to either our land drops or to our wraths. So that's one of the main downsides to playing a card like Doomscar. But for the small price potentially of not deploying one of these on turn 2, which sometimes it just gets countered anyway, depending on the matchup. But for that price, it's either we get to wipe the board early and we wipe all of their stuff, or it's pay 2 mana, have the opponent pump the brakes, and then have a 3-mana Wrath my turn, which then, of course, can segue into a 4-mana possibly actual Wrath if they think that they're out of the blue. Like, they could think that they're out of the, danger zone, commit a bunch of stuff, and then get swept up with actual Wrath. But, I don't know. At the end of the day, it's a little too experimental. The way I see it, Wrath of God is tried and tested. This has been one of my best cards. I know I used to play Winds of Abandon. The way I see it, though, probably this is just better overall. Yeah, just Wrath of God, just a cheaper Wrath effect. And the way I see it, Wrath of God's just been definitely better than Winds of Abandon. And if Winds of Abandon is good, if a Wrath is good, maybe 8 Wraths is better. I think that's pretty much the main deck. The rest is pretty much. Oh yeah, Cast Out. I forget to finish my thought there. Without Skyclave Apparition, this is really just the best effect like this I think that I can play with Zirda. Sadly, one of the biggest problems with Zirda is that I can't play Skyclave Operation because it doesn't have an activated ability. Yeah, needless to say, not as good because it gets caught up with that sky whatever thing. They have to pay a lot of energy though, for what it's worth, because it costs 4. But then again, of course, it costs 4. So it's kind of like when somebody thought seizes you and it's like, joke's on you, my hand sucks, and it's like it's like, yeah, but it's not the own you think it is type of thing. But this is also not as bad as it looks, although admittedly, that could not be saying much. Even if it's not as bad as it looks, it might not necessarily be good. But I don't know. Part of this is going to just be us seeing how good this actually can be. And one of the things that bothers me is just what a bottleneck on 4 this is. But what I'm actually thinking though is that just being able to cycle this. The cycling for one, in my experience, has been so cheap and efficient that a lot of times it's almost free. Not really, but it's almost free. Like, the cycling is so cheap that I feel like a good chunk of the time I'm just gonna be cycling this, and there could be something to be said about that. Like this, think of this more like I suppose a 1-mana cycling card for 1 white that you can also cast for 4 and exile stuff if you need it. And I guess you might be wondering, why am I even looking for a Skyclave type effect? But like I said in my brief discussion of Skyclave before I got sidetracked, is basically I want an effect that can both deal with Planeswalkers and the One Ring, because I have a card that can deal with the One Ring as well as most other artifacts and enchantments. I have a card that can deal with Planeswalkers and enchantments for that matter, but I don't really have a card that can deal with both Planeswalkers and the One Ring, and this kind of bridges the gap, because this way I have 8 effects that deal with the One Ring and 8 effects that deal with Planeswalkers, and I feel like that's kind of a minimum where I have to be. Anyway, sideboard. I'm just seeing so much of that mono red Storm deck. I'm actually going to try Blossoming Calm. I can't quite bring myself to play at least not yet. Time might come. I can't quite bring myself just yet to play forget what that card is called. Let's see. I might be trying it in one of my red versions here. Damping Sphere. Yeah, and Damping Sphere is a nice card. One thing I like about Damping Sphere is it's good in Tron. It's good against Storm, and it's also arguably good against Amulet. I kind of be interested in trying it against Amulet. Never really have. Now that Storm's back on the menu, perhaps. The problem is that I guess one could make the argument. The problem is that I'm kind of a sitting duck against Burn, and I know that there's not that many Burn decks, but there's also all these aggro kind of decks that do sling Burn spells at my face. And although they're not Burn proper, this deck has a tendency to unfortunately soak up a lot of damage early on while we're trying to just buy time to wrath the board, that we can very easily just die to a top deck Lightning Bolt. And so I guess that's where Blossoming Calm feels like it plugs that issue, while I also think that this is decent Storm tech, because at least in the mono red variety, I don't think they have a lot of counterplay to Blossoming Calm. I suppose they could Chalice of the Void on 1. They do play a decent amount of 1-drops themselves, although one they can probably get away with Chalicing on 1, and then Chalice on 2 obviously is crippling to them. I suppose Chalice of the Void is another possibility. It would shut off Zirda, but oh wait a minute. No, my bad. This isn't the correct version. Here is the correct version. Yeah, because I'm playing in Rest in Peace in this version. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should cut Rest in Peace for Unlicensed Hearse. But the thing I like about Rest in Peace is it's just kind of better as a graveyard hate in most matchups where we want graveyard hate. On the other hand, Hearse is also a creature, and it also allows us to keep Zirda, which is probably better overall. But I think this is better against Storm because they can't ever really do Trixies with the oh, you know what it is, Past in Flames. Because, you know, sometimes they can, like, with a Past in Flames on the stack, even if you exile, like, all the cards in the graveyard, they could dump some other spells and then flash them back. Rest in peace, they just have to deal with it. There's just no playing around it, really. But yeah, Blossoming Calm, I mean, especially in the mono red version, other than, like, Chalice on 1, which I don't think they really play, I just don't think they have a lot of counterplay to this. Like, to be fair, I wonder what counterplay they would have to a Leyline of Sanctity. I guess they could try to go the Empty the Warrens route. I feel like the Wrath of God is a decent plan against the Empty the Warrens route, but anywho, Blossoming Calm does yeah, if they don't really have like counterplay to this, then this will kind of put the brakes on a big grape shot to my face. I mean, of course they can wipe my board, but I usually don't have that many creatures, especially early in the game anyway. So that's my thinking. Vanish into Eternity, because at the end of the day, it doesn't conflict with Zirda, but it also deals with any artifact, any enchantment, any One Ring, any Planeswalker. Now, this would be main deckable if not for the fact that it costs 6 mana to hit a creature. So, for the most part, I don't really treat this as a card that hits creatures. It is noteworthy that you can, and you should always be cognizant of that, because when it does come up, you're going to be very thankful that it can hit creatures, but since it costs 6 mana to target a creature, for the most part, that's why this card kind of gets regulated to the sideboard, because like there's just so many decks that pack a lot of creatures nowadays, which I guess is a good thing. It just means that this card is just very bad in a lot of matchups where I'm primarily looking to hit the creatures. But it is a very solid. This would probably be in any mono white sideboard, at least my versions, just because of, you know, hitting the One Ring, hitting Planeswalkers at the cost of not really hitting creatures, not efficiently at least. And just to round it out, I'm just placking 2 Blast Zones in the sideboard. I like the way that in the main deck I've got both Mirrex and Castle, because I just find that there's some matchups where just, you know, pumping out the tokens just is kind of hard for them to deal with. So, anywho's it, let's get to the games, see how it goes. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and then we'll get to the games and let's see how this one goes. Okay, let's see how the old first Matcheroonie went. Yep. Gonna try to play Zirda, and I think this hand is about as keepable as, you know, we can hope for a hand like this. Yeah, I mean, Dismember is going to cost us life, but on the other hand, we don't have to pitch a card like Solitude. On the other hand, we don't get to cast it for full value at 3 life, but we'll see. We'll see. Okay, Veyral. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna. Yeah, that's a pretty easy Dismember. This looks like Classic Storm, which is weird with the Ruby Storm being all the rage. I'm drawing a bunch of lands. So they could crumble sometimes, I guess. Yeah, I thought I was going to Field Ruin them. We might be able to keep them off of red sources, but if this is the new and improved methodology, there we go. They're playing that. I mean, maybe we run them out of basics. Maybe they only have 2 basics. I kind of doubt it. Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, we might as well do this while they're tapped out. Yeah, would have been nice if we could have whittled them down. Well, there's Ral. Okay, let's do this here. Surprised I didn't Dismember it in a turn. I guess I didn't want it to flip, you know. Oh, I'd use Wrath of God, I guess. That makes sense. But it could go off here. Okay, well, we're going to try to Dismember because we don't really have much choice here in the matter. Do we want to let this go? I don't think so. And we do get the Dismember back for what it's worth, so. Unfortunately, I think they got another one if I remember correctly. No, they just got a bunch of rituals. Alright, we're dead. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Yep, 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 yep. Alright. Alright, let's see how the old sideboarding goes here. I mean, yeah, rest in peace for the, you know what. Yeah, and my thinking with Blossoming Calm here is that I get to not only hopefully stop a Grape Shot, but I get to counter Gifts Ungiven, because of the way it's worded. Let's just hope that we remember to actually counter Gifts Ungiven. Yeah, Blast Zone on 2 maybe. I don't know why I'm actually bringing in Blast Zone. Maybe I'm a little bit worried about a Pyromancer's Ascension or something. I don't know. I guess just another way to deal with their cost reducers. Oh, it cast out. Excuse the yawn. It's got to be the Wraths, right? Oh no, but the Wraths can be good against the Empty the Warrens tokens, though. Just got to keep at least one Wrath in. Yeah, just in case they have some weird meddling mage effect, I guess, so they get cast out. Yeah, that seems like a reasonable way to go about it. Okay. Okay, match 2. Let's see. I mean, we got the double Blossoming Calm, but yeah, and I guess we got 2 mana and Mazemind Tome, so yeah, we might be able to make something happen with this. You know, I don't want to make any spoilers, but certainly one very important aspect here is to remember that Blossoming Calm, you know, counters Gifts Ungiven. So that's going to be important, I think. Yeah, we're going to do that because we want to keep up a Blossoming Calm, and we can't really do that. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So we got the Blossoming Calm, which we can keep up for a Gifts Ungiven. We'll just gotta, you know, make sure we don't click past that. Just keep going. You know, eventually you're probably gonna Grape Shot us or Gifts. Okay, let's make sure we don't, you know, click past this. Okay, looks like we totally did click past it. Okay, well we can still win this. Probably not, to be honest. But yeah, that was a brain fart if I've ever seen one. So, I mean, the good news is if they go empty the Warrens, we got Wrath, although we have to draw a White Source. And if they go Grape Shot, we got Blossoming Calm. But the bad news about Blossoming Calm is if they've got enough rituals, they might just be able to, yeah. So I think they continued comboing. I think for some reason this stopped early, but I think they did actually. From what I remember, they did Grape Shot and they did remand my Blossoming Calm. That's what I remembered at least. So that one's an L. All right, match 2. This should be an interesting one here. And, you know, I'll keep because I don't really know what's up, so I'll keep. But I think this one's going to be an interesting one. And, yeah, for some reason I'm seeing a resurgence of these, yeah, what's that card called again? Aetherworks Marvel. That card. I think it's because of all the new energy shenanigans. So far, this is mostly old energy, though, interestingly enough. Well, I kind of like the idea of bank busting. I mean, it does create a threat eventually. So there's that. Once again, drawing quite a few lands. But I mean, at least we're not gonna miss land drops. So there's that. Brain Surge, okay. It's kind of cool. It's their hub. Here comes the Marvel. Okay, but the good news is we can cast that out. So, I mean, we just kind of happen to have the right card at the right time, if you know what I mean. They did get another turn though, but that is not as worrisome. So, yeah. So thankfully we dodged the second bullet. Couldn't deal with 2 Emrakuls, but could deal with 1. Eventually they will start to run out of Gasaruni, as they call it. Well, they can marvel it up again. Ooh, I think we're dead. At least we got plenty of I don't know that we should give up just yet. We're at 20 life. I don't know, but we did, and we're going to the next game. All right. Okay, let's run it back here. See how this one goes. Zirda, I choose you. Notice how we just have not really been utilizing Zirda at all. It's kind of to be expected, to be honest. So, cycle that cast out. Reckoner Bankbuster. Ujin for speeding some stuff up. Very speedy, very speedy. Wish I drew a one of those fields so I could get rid of the Emrakul permanently. Okay, but if they tap it right now, I can Vanish, which I will. Yeah, so that's good. They don't get to draw a card off of that. Yeah, okay, so that's good. Now they can Aetherworks me. Don't Aetherworks me, bro. Okay, they didn't Aetherworks me. Not let. Yeah, I guess they didn't have enough energy, even if they did Aetherworks me. Let's see. Should I scry? I'm not sure. Maybe not. I do kind of like the idea of just drawing more cards. You'd think I'd be guaranteed to draw more of these things with 8 of them in my deck, but believe it or not, if this is all I get, oh, okay, I guess I go for it. I've probably thought about it. Since they did tap that Ujin, we're gonna try to get rid of that Emrakul. We can. It'll take a minor victories, while we can. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I agree with that, but any little bit we can, any little victories, I guess. We're definitely gonna bank bust. Yeah, in retrospect, I don't think I should have gotten rid of that thingy. I guess my thinking is we don't want them to get to Emrakul mana, but I think with 8 fields, I don't think so. I don't think we have to worry too much about that. Should I Mazemind? Yeah, with another Mazemind on top, I guess so. I'll hit my land drop. It's not the sexiest land drop of all time, but a land drop's a land drop, alright? So, the question is to make a Mirrex token. Probably bank busting the way to go. Okay. It's boom. What is this here? Oh, that's fine. Boom. I guess we'll go from here. Maybe we can slowly try to erode their mana base. Put Zirda into our hand. I guess that works too. They don't technically. Yeah. Oh, so they're actually out of what? One ring. Okay. Well, they're gonna get there. They're gonna get theirs from that. So that's what it is. What can you do, right? Mazemind it. Mazemind it at a turn. If you think about it, though, they drew an extra card off of the One Ring, but then we get to draw an extra card off our Mazemind, so it's not the end of the world here as far as the card advantage wars. Okay, we can cut them off green with the field, so probably that's what we're going to be looking to do. Probably want to play Zirda, though. Yeah. I guess we'll play that first. Yeah, makes sense. Surprised I didn't play Zirda, but I guess... I'm surprised I didn't pop the field. Cut them off of green, but I guess I can... Yeah. Okay. I'll play Zirda, I think. It'll make all my Mazeminds way cheaper. Yeah. I'll do this here. Dramatic Discharge, hit that thing. I'll probably Mazemind it a few times. Now, I guess we want to hold up Cast Out, to be fair. Yeah, we're just going to hold up Cast Out. And that's one of the biggest issues with Zirda, is just that it doesn't stick for too long, but obviously if it does, it has a profound impact on what. Okay, well we do have Cast Out if they reveal Emrakul. Okay, that's, you know what, that's okay, we can live with that one. Cast Out or March? Yeah, I guess Cast Out. Cast Out's a little expensive, but obviously the ability to do that is kind of nice. Needless to say. That's good. We'll take that. We'll keep that. I guess we'll hit the Aether Hub. We'll take it back. That's fine. Yeah, we gotta take care of that Marvel. Okay. Demolition Field. Don't mind if we do. And I mean, I guess we're at a certain point we got to start creating Mirrex tokens. Maybe we do that. Yeah, we do that. Have to. Well, I don't know. Do we really want that? Probably not. Yeah, we'll just try to keep whittling them down. Okay, and hey, we actually take that one. Nice. Okay, final for match 2, and we have the same sideboard, so we'll just get right to it. They get to play Once Upon a Time, essentially, which is, you know, cool, good for them. No, we don't. We're not going to be jealous just because we can't play with banned cards. We're going to congratulate our opponent instead of feeling, you know, instead of feeling jealous. Yeah, speaking of, yeah, the whole jealousy thing is kind of interesting if you think about it, because like obviously, just raw naked jealousy is a terrible vice. It's a you know vice. It's a sin, whatever you want to call it. But at the same time, it's like if you constantly get the short end of the stick for no reason other than just that, you know, people try to take advantage of you, so to speak. It's kind of like at a certain point, it's like, dude, I don't think I'm being jealous. I think this is just wrong. And it's like, you know what I mean? Because like the flip side of jealousy is, well, just wantonly treating people different for no reason, you know? Like that's not really like, yeah. Basically, jealousy exists, I think, in order to whatever. So interestingly enough, they seem to be a little mana screwed here. And for that reason, that's why. Because even though last game I kind of regretted that line of dealing with that transformer thingy. Since they do look to be mana screwed, we are going to try to capitalize on that. Without a Mirrex, though, I just don't know, you know, I just don't know how much that's really going to capitalize that much. And unfortunately, they can put the Emrakul in their hand. We'll probably do this on their upkeep, although fundamentally doesn't change. Question is, should we wait for them to tap it? I don't think so. Yeah, I don't think so. They can return it to their hand. That's fine. Notably, they are a little low on the clock. They must have had a basic force in their hand last game, because I didn't see that one. Or maybe I missed it. Thought I saw an island and a mountain, but here's it. Yeah. So now, I don't know how many Emrakuls they play, but we got 2 down, so, you know, we will take our victories where we can get them. Mulling over our options, I guess. Basically play Demolition Field and pass. Yeah, Ancient Stirrings. Okay, well, they can definitely find a land, but maybe we Demolition Field them? I think we will. We probably have their island. Okay. We should be pretty much in strip mine territory from here on out, though, so there is that. Demolition Field time. Yeah. Yeah, we're going to play Zirda. Now, if they play like a 1-ring, obviously it's going to, yeah, but, you know, take our chances, I guess. We can play Zirda and activate Demolition Field, or we can activate Demolition Field, play Zirda. Either which way is up to us. I do kind of like the idea of dropping Zirda because I mean, it'll probably eat a Galvanic Discharge, but But it is a clock. If they don't have Galvanic Discharge, we actually get to press the action, which I think is pretty good. And even if they do discharge, we still do that. Yep. Alrighty. Okay, they didn't have discharge, so maybe we can actually press the action. Okay, or not. Okay, well, yeah, that's exactly what we're trying to play around, but I think it's okay. We got the Vanish. Got the Vanish. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Okay. Yeah, and these Day of Judgments and stuff, not necessarily doing me many favors, so we're just gonna vanish that one ring, I think. I mean, right? Yeah, of course. It's kind of the main reason. I mean, we just did this just because. I don't think they got any haste stuff. Null Drifter, okay. Solar, whatever. I really want a field. I don't want them to be able to put that World Breaker into the hand. Seems kind of good. Okay. Okay. Definitely glad I've got the Zirda out, so there's that, at least. Yeah, unfortunately, I can't really do much. They got so much mana, I'm not going to try to keep them off a Soul Transformer thingy-ma-do. Okay. Devour Destiny. Alright, it was only a matter of time. But we can Path, I think. Although I'll probably Wrath of God, just because, you know, there's a premium on instant speed and all of that jazz. I have to think about it for a bit, but I think like now is as good of a time as ever to Wrath Oh God. Let's go. Man, a Day of Judgment as it were. But I really wish I had more fields. I did draw like 4 of them though early on, so hey. Yeah, I played another World Breaker. Now I meant to float that for the Path, but I'm not at the top of my game here, as you can probably tell. I need to get to go. Okay. Yep. Yeah, I'm just not drawing a lot of lands, but it's okay. I mean, this seems like a more ideal card to Path, most likely. Yeah, we're definitely gonna vanish that into eternity. Into Eternita. Ooh, Aetherworks. Marvelous. Ooh, okay. I think pathing that seems like the way to go. Or I guess we'll Wrath. Just because it's a good 2-for-1 thingamadooter. Just try to be mana efficient, I guess. Puzzle Knot. Okay, they just drew another one, I think. Or did they return it to their hand? No, they didn't. Well, we got plenty of paths, though, so I think we're gonna be okay. Obviously, they can return another one to their hand, which is what it is. It's like fine. Bam. Go down a little bit on this stuff. Man, I could have used that a while ago, but yep. At least we can whittle their mana down a little bit. And this time, let's make sure to float the mana. Yep. Alrighty. So I think we're finally... Yeah, we just want to get to like our draw spells. I mean, Castaway has its moments, but we just got to start pulling ahead here. Like, yeah, so we're cycling it. Yeah, and there we go. Like, you know, it's not perfect, but Mirrex, you know what I mean? They are going all in with the energy. So let's make some Mirrex tokens. And notice how the Mirrex tokens, they kill twice as quickly. So the more and more I'm looking at this, the more and more I'm not so sure we need Castle Ardenvale. Like, Castle Ardenvale is pretty much, I think, just better against Ragavan specifically for the most part. But Mirrex is cheaper to activate, and it actually closes the game out twice as fast. So I'm kind of thinking Mirrex is our finisher. That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking Mirrex is actually like a perfect control style finisher. It's crazy, actually. Okay, Null Drifter. Okay, but they can't hardcast it, so that's good for us. Make some mites. Make some mites. Alrighty. Alrighty. Man, I like Mazemind. Yeah. I was going to say, just closing out the game faster might be the way to go, but we'll see. Okay, well, as it turned out. Now, I did just let that happen right with a Vanish right in my hand. So I was once again asleep at the wheel, but I do get to draw an extra card off of Mazemind, so it's like not without its benefits. So. But that shouldn't have happened. They shouldn't have got to be able to draw that card there. On the other hand, they shouldn't have... all they had to do was just wait, so we're just going to pretend they played optimally by waiting. Yeah, we'll say they actually waited for us to tap the Mazemind Tome, and then... Because then it would have amounted to the same thing. I wasn't going to just hold up Vanish and not do anything. Well, this is the moment of truth, Aetherworks Marvel. But they went through so many of their threats, though. Like, I don't think they got that much left. Well, another World Breaker, that's... Oy. Okay, we'll just draw a card here. Okay. Yeah, sometimes Castle Ardenvale tokens can hold the line against like a World Breaker, so there's that too, if that needs to come to that. If it needs to come to that. We got the Bankbuster. Bankerbusteroo. Okay, kind of is what it is. I guess we'll hit the World Breaker. At the end of the day, World Breaker, you know, Hour of Destiny. Maybe actually hit the Hour of Destiny, actually. Oof. So this is actually like our moment of truth here, our test. Yeah, originally I was gonna wait, but can't take more damage than I need to unnecessarily. I think we're gonna get annihilated for one, but it's a good thing we saved that damage because we can afford to be a little more, you know what, with our life total. Going down to 5 is a little nervous. Of truth. But all we need is a simple Wrath. We got more Wraths where that came from, so I think we have a decent shot here. I think we got a decent shot. Let's see. So we get to... Okay, well, so we didn't draw a Wrath. On the other hand, though, we have 2 Get Lost and a Pilot token. Now, what I regret, though, is I wish I could have held the Reckoner Bankbuster up. So we don't want to obviously get annihilated. Yeah, and thank goodness. I have to block the Devour. I'm just double checking, make sure neither of them have trample. So we don't hit that one. Now the unfortunate thing though is that these map tokens do give them energy. So let's bank bust. And I guess we have got double cast out here. We do. We've got double cast up out. cast off out. Puzzle Knot. Yeah, so yeah, they're using Aetherworks Marvel on Puzzle Knot. I don't even know if they're going to get an attack off. But if they do, we've got a plan. I'm actually going to make a token here, yeah. That was actually a mistake, though, because if they had Kozilek's Return, we had double cast out, so we actually had that was a big mistake, especially with this little. I think my worry was if they had like another Emrakul or something, but with this little time left on the clock, cast out was clearly the better choice because that played around. I guess now that I think about it, Kozilek though, I still could crew the Reckoner Bankbuster, so maybe we did survive no matter what. So okay, all right, let's get the party started. And oh man, this is a test of faith right here, but we are going to cycle the cast out because our thinking here is at the end of the day, we just got to get to our white mana. I think we got a solid chance. They are really utopian, sprawling up that forest. It's almost looking kind of like Enchantress or something. We are in Color Screw USA here. Really glad that we cycled that cast out so that we're closer to a plains now, at least. Yeah, and I agree with this. They're really trying to capitalize while they can. Thankfully, we did draw basic plains. The Get Lost is an answer to the Blood Moon, which is good for us. In the meantime, I think we'll just draw some cards. Because why not? Yeah. And I guess we'll start hammering away. You know, now that I think about it, we actually don't need to deal with that Blood Moon. We might be able to just get there with the Reckoners. Okay, well, we wish we would have been able to draw a card off of that. We didn't really see that coming, but hey, it is what it is. All right, well now I guess we I was gonna say we get lost that thing right now, but maybe not. We just play Zirda, I guess. Yeah, then we crash in. Play that. Yeah. Harvest hand. Let's deal with that thing right now. Yeah. Double Blood Moon is interesting. Okay. I think we have to crew that Bankbuster in case they gain another life or something. Yeah, what an anticlimactic match. Okay, how are we gonna sideboard here? I think basically Vanish for extra enchantment hate, Blast Zone for extra enchantment hate. I don't think those Demolition Fields are actually that useful. But yeah, we definitely want that. We'll probably take out some of the Wraths, I think. I don't need 8. I do like Dismember, though. It can deal with a lot of early stuff. It seems good to me. Let's take it, yeah. I'm beginning to wonder if 8 Wraths is really necessary. It's kind of might be overkill. I guess I was just kind of inspired by the mono black deck with the Toxic Deluge plus Damnation. Let's get to the game. Alright, well, back at ya, the old Zirda, Utopia Sprawl, Greater Aromancy. We're gonna try to draw cards. Ooh, Seal of Primordium. Okay, well, at least I didn't draw a card off of it. Yeah, I think we need to make our land drop, period. Okay. Yeah, at the end of the day, we gotta do what we gotta do. Probably gonna cycle that cast out too, when you think about it. And once again, they're just not drawing their payoff pieces. Yeah, okay, fine. There's no point in scrying first because, you know. Okay, yeah, we got to do that because that's basically gatekeeping everything else. Okay. Yeah, just trying to hit our land drops. We do have Zirda, or we could try to nickel and dime them with castle tokens. There's that too. Yeah, definitely Zirda. Makes sense. Pretty sure we're just going to get on thin iced. Yeah. Alright, well, it is what it is. I like bank busting. Keep them off of red, but of course they've got their abundant growth still. Yeah, fine. Getting to drawing cards seems good. When they don't present any payoffs, we do have double get lost though, so I wasn't too particularly worried about payoffs. I mean, we might as well just nickel and dime their lands here. Okay, fine. Because I guess I'm worried about a utility land. I don't know. I don't know what I'm worried about or not. Okay, Mirrex. That seems like way better than what we got going on right now. Let's go. Oh, bank busting. Who are you gonna call? Bankbuster! Okay, that's enough of that. Yeah, let's go. Let's see. La 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 la. On thin ice on that. Okay, let's Mirrex. Yeah. Make a token. And what we can do is we can make maximum damage. Maximum, yeah. I did not fully realize we had lethal, but we'll take it. Okay. Doki. Match 4. Zirda, I choose you. Yeah, this hand is clunktastic. Uh-oh, first turn Ragavan. We don't like to see that. I guess we have to path, which pretty much just converted their Ragavan into a permanent mana dork that we can't actually deal with in the form of a land. Oh well. Oh wow. We're getting our teeth knocked in here. Castle would have came into play tap, so that was kind of a no-go. Woo-wee. Unfortunately, we don't have a 3-mana Wrath. And even if we did, we don't have double white. So we are kind of in trouble here. We are kind of in trouble. Okay, how did we sideboard here? I mean, Blast Zone seems like a no-brainer. Who you gonna call? Blast Zone. Rest in Peace might actually be good again because they pretty much it casts like a one-sided humility on the Nether Goyfs. Plus they can't flash them back, and they're a 0/1 too, so they can't even deal 1 damage. I think trying to squeeze Rest in Peace in had to have been in the cards, but I guess enough of our removals are Exile based as is, so we're gonna try to see if we can rock this. Almost like 1 or 2 Rest in Pieces could be worth it, but then we lose Zirda, which is one of the problems. Ooh. Excuse me. I'm not sure how much I really... Do I make any last minute changes? Sideboard, thinking. I was thinking about Blossoming Calm, I guess. Man, really taking out Dismember? Yeah, see, I did find my way to put Rest in Peace in there instead of Dismember. Actually, I'm just going to continue off of this video here. Just because I don't think it's going to last that much longer. So let's go. Arid Mesa. Blood Crypt, another Goyf. Yeah, path to Exile, I guess. The main reason is because we want to drop our Bankbuster on turn 2. I don't like the idea of ramping them, but I do like the idea of dropping Bankbuster. In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have ramped them, though, because really, probably that ended up hurting us more than helping us anyway. We got a lot of Wraths, but we're going to have to actually hit our 4th mana and survive another turn. Because the main problem is a Burning Tree Emissary allows them to just drop a lot into play all at once. That's the issue. Sure enough, there it is. Sure enough, I think they've got... Oh my god. So it's like they've always got the nuts. We're going to take a lot of damage. We could just straight up die next turn. Should I play Rest in Peace? I guess I have to. The problem, though, they can still pump the Nether Goyf, and now I don't even have the buffer of 1 extra card off a Bankbuster to hit the 4th land drop. So I'm not really sure about this at all, to be honest. Goblin Guide, okay. And I got a feeling they got another Reckless. Okay, that's a little scary. And that is not a land, so I think that's GG. Wow. I guess I'm going to cycle it just to see what was. Nope, I guess not. Okay, let's get the party started. Match 5. Ooh, yeah, that hand had 1 land, so we're just gonna... Yeah. Lava Spur Boots, so interesting new card. Ward and Haste. Definitely a powerful new addition. I don't like that. I'm going to path it, so this way I can bank bust. Do I want to bank bust or do I want to Mazemind? I think Mazemind, yeah, because I got to hit those land drops. This is primarily where Mazemind is better. But they actually complement each other better than they might seem at first glance. In a way. Okay. Yeah, I think I'm going to wait on dealing with the Emery. It's not necessarily like end of the world just yet. Obviously they get some mana advantage, but hey. Notably, I can hit the Darksteel, but I don't think I'm going to get to that yet. Okay, well we'll tank a Kappa. We'll tank the Kappa. Okay, White Source and then Wrath. It's not a White Source or Wrath. So the clock is ticking. Let's get rid of that, yeah. Ooh, that's spicy. That's saucy. That is what we call a saucy meatball. Kappa Cannoneer. Ooh, that's also sassy. Oh, it's a BAM. Is there any way we actually survive this though? Because we need a Wrath. Not to the bottom. That's not a Wrath. I think that's GG. Let's do that. Yeah, the problem. Oh yeah, because that has Ward. We didn't even have the means anyway. Alright, sideboarding time. Let's see how we approach this one here. And in all honesty, I think it's just probably Blast Zone for a couple Demolition Fields. Honestly, between the Get Losts, the March of Otherworldly Lights, and the 6 remaining fields, I don't think we have to worry too much about Urza Saga, so honestly, I don't really know what else we really play. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I mean, the Wraths seem like, we have 8 of them. If we would have actually drawn one, that might have just ended the game right there. So, I mean, this might actually be a good matchup. Like 8 Wraths, Affinity of course has, Metallic Rebuke and whatnot, so we can't treat it as a buy. But I mean, with 8 Wraths, I think we have the means to control Affinity. Wraths, I think, have always been one of the best answers to Affinity. The best Wrath, of course, being Shatterstorm, but we're not that cheesy. But even most of their most dangerous stuff is obviously creatures. So while it's not quite as good as destroying all their artifacts, destroying all their creatures is a good consolation prize. All right. That of course takes us to the second game here. Well, we're loaded up on Wraths. We're gonna risk it, hoping that we can actually draw all our way up to 4 lands. Once we do, I feel pretty good about our chances. And hey, that's a good start. To quote a certain Fonz, hey. Bam. Okay. Flare Denial. Okay, fine. I was not expecting that, to be honest, but that's fine. I still accept it. I still, come to terms. Mirrex. Was not expecting just a bare pithing needle right there. I think I'm gonna Wrath. I feel it welling up inside of me. Okay, I kind of could have, would have, should have seen that coming, but that's fine. Wow. Okay, well, we have another Wrath anyway, so it's like, it's fine. Oof. Not gonna lie, I was not expecting that, but we can still, though. We can still Wrath it up, so we will. Finally. I'll get rid of that. Get that out of there. Tamio. Tamio. Yo. Okay. Disruptor Flute. I'm going to hit this right now and hit that Pithing Needle. Oh, yeah. I'm going to hit Mirrex. That's fine. If I hit that second Blast Zone, we're going to be in pretty good shape. Okay. Tamio. Oh, I think we can afford to take a few licks here before we blow the Wrath. Yeah, this seems like what we want to do here. Okay, now we can blow the Wrath. No point in tapping lands when they're just gonna, you know what? Yeah, we're gonna do this because these all untap. At the end of the day, I just don't know if we need to actually deal with the moon. I mean, it's an interesting thought experiment. Which one should we deal with, the Mirrex or the moon? Maybe we actually do deal with the moon because we just can't really get our land game going. Okay. That was another reason to hit the moon. Okay. Yeah, we want to be able to tap our lands next turn. That sucks, but let's see. Now, that was dumb. I really should have cycled that before. And it might end up costing us the game, but let's see. Like, there's really no good reason for why I shouldn't have cycled before playing the land drop for that exact reason. They just get another token for no good reason at all. Did they put the Flare Denial? They did. We do have a Wrath, though, so it's like not the end of the world. Let's see here. Yeah, we gotta hit that thing. Yeah, just path that. Okay. Point at attacking just yet, I think. Alright. We're just going to get our card advantage game going. Gain some life, so, And this is, I guess, where having our Castle Ardenvale comes in handy. We don't actually necessarily need to deal with the flute. So we can get lost, right? Get lost. Yeah. I guess we want to see if we can draw into another field, because it'll be much better for field, I think. Bam. Yeah, field. Field's much better. Let's do that. Play another bank busty. Let's go. Yeah, I think this is kind of driver's seat territory here. Let's make another token because I mean, why not? We're in the mood. Yeah. Let's go. I don't think we actually need Mirrex at this point. Kapp-Affinity. Okay, wow. I mean, that's fine, but what we can do here, yeah, let's do it. And yeah. All right, match, final match and final game, and same sideboarding. Yeah, just 2 Demolition Fields for the Blast Stones. Let's go. And I think, ooh, I don't, yeah, I can't get that. No colored sources. We've got to hit our wraths. Let's see. Okay, well, it just so happens we had Reckoner. Oh, there's the Mazemind. So, all right. I'm going to cycle that because just clunky. Now, I find this interesting that I played the Mazemind here. I think there was some method to my madness, but I forget what it was. Oh, because I was pretty sure they had a Metallic Rebuke, I think. Well, anyhow. Emery. Should I dismember that? I think I should. Now, if they... Yeah, so they do have like a Metallic Rebuke or Flare Denial. That's fine. We'll get lost, I think. Yeah. We don't want them to get mana ramped unnecessarily. We don't want to get Kapp-Affinity. So hopefully we can bank bust it some goodness. Okay, well. Bam. So they are naming some stuff. But maybe we can just get there with the Mirrex. Let's see. We do have enough mana to path and deal with Kapp-Affinity, so there's that too. Okay. Suddenly kind of missing that cast out in order to deal with the Mazemind Tomes and whatnot, but at the end of the day, these mites might get there. Ooh. So we might have to blow up our own stuff, but it might be worth it. Or no, actually, we can just blow up the Pithing Needle and then we can get to work with Mazeminding. It seems like a good deal to me. Yeah, let's do this. Because I guess they failed to realize that Tamiyo is in fact a 1 mana cost card. So we got to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. We were going to do that anyway. So we'll take it. Yeah, we're going to keep it up this way because this way we can make a Mirrex token and crack the Mazemind Tome. Yeah, we just let them do that. That's fine. So let's Mazemind. Yeah, and Mazemind. Yep. And I think Dismember is the name of the game here. Some kind of Flare Denial or something. That's fine. Yeah, I think get lost. Yeah, get lost out of there. Yeah, because we want to create another Mirrex token because they're so close to just closing that game out there. I mean, that's fine. The Kapp-Affinity. But at the end of the day, that's not fundamentally going to change the outlook. It just isn't. I mean, it's a valiant effort, but it's not going to change the outlook. We're going to create another Mirrex token. We can even deal with both of those. And, yeah, I mean, hey, yeah. And, hey, 3-2. We'll take it. Okay, and with that, we reach the post league. And where do we go from here? So, in all honesty, this white deck is very hit and miss, and when it misses, it's not a particularly pleasant experience. So with that in mind, though, obviously there are some matchups, like for example, Affinity, I think should be pretty favorable. Like there is probably a place for this deck. I'm just not necessarily sure that the metagame's kind of shaken out to where I can reasonably expect that place is going to be, is going to be represented more than it is not on like MTGO and such. I can tell you I don't really like the Storm matchups. I mean, first of all, they don't usually play Gifts Ungiven anyway, and even then, you know, we got to actually remember to cast our Blossoming Calms in response. But at the end of the day, it's a moot point anyway. Almost everybody's on Mono Red Ral Storm instead of Blue Red Classic Storm, you know, featuring Ral. So like, I'm not so great. I'm not so feeling the Ral matchup. I think I got some Nadu players in the past, but honestly, like if they know what's up, like particularly if they know I'm packing, you know, Wrath of God, you know, like once they catch on that I'm playing Wrath of God, I think the Nadu players can beat us too, which is kind of unfortunate. The Blast Stones can help deal with the Shukos, but the problem is the Shukos are just so freaking cheap. Because like the problem is because both Nadu and Shukos are both pretty cheap, it's not so difficult for them to basically deploy both of them in the same turn. And then like even if we deal with the Nadu, they still draw like 2 cards minimum off of those Shuko activations, or a Shuko activation, and then in response my Path to Exile or something, and then they draw another card because my Path to Exile targeted it. And then if you count them, you know, getting the land off a path, and then it's like a 3 card. So like, you know, I don't know, kind of, it's kind of like is what it is. Yeah, I think my biggest issue though is that I know Cast Out had its moments against like Emrakul and whatnot, but like at the end of the day, this just really I really want Cast Out to be Skyclave Apparition. I'm doing like a screenshot here because I already changed the deck a bit. But we all know Skyclave Apparition, right? 2 white, 1 colorless creature. It's a core, I think, core spirit, and when it comes into play, exile a non-token, non-land permanent with converted mana cost 4 or less, and then when it leaves play, they get a spirit token with power and toughness equal to the converted mana cost, I think, of the card you exiled. And just the thing I like about you know, whatever that's called, Skyclave Apparition, is just that it deals with the One Ring. It deals with, you know, Grist, Wrenn and 6, you know, Karn, the Great Creator. It deals with a lot of the more commonly played Planeswalkers, the more cheap ones, the ones we definitely have to deal with and we see a lot. And that's just the thing I like is that there's just so much artifact and enchantment hate just incidentally running around in Modern that I feel like their ability to get it back is just not particularly good for us. And I just really like that Skyclave just deals with it permanently. Now that means obviously we lose Zirda, and at that point, you know, we might as well play Solitude. Because at that, like the thing I liked about the Zirda build is that we kind of like got rewarded sort of by, you know, foregoing playing Solitude because Solitude doesn't have an activated ability. But I think as we saw though, Zirda just kind of eats a removal spell, and like I mean, it has its moments in some matchups, sure, like against Enchantress, I guess. Even against Enchantress, they got I forget what that card's called, on Thin Ice, and like yeah. So in all honesty, I think what I'm going to be looking to do is just to replace the Cast Out with Skyclave Apparition. And then honestly, I've honestly been messing around a little bit after this match with Oust. You know, 1 white mana sorcery. Put target creature on top of its library, second from the top. They gain 3 life. The thing I like is just that I hate the way Dismember becomes a dead card later in the game when I go too low on life. I also hate the fact that it can't deal with, you know, like literally anything. Like it can't deal with those, you know, 6/6 whatever that thing's called. And but I just really like having answers to like Tamiyo and a hard cast Dragon on turn 1 and stuff. And honestly, like, believe it or not, Oust was kind of an overperformer. So, you know, if I'm still playing Modern and recording and such, look out for me testing out Oust in the near future. I do think it's safe to say that I like Oust, so I'm probably going to be, you know, it's probably going to be an option going forward. And then at that point, I think, you know, either doubling up on the Wrath for Day of Judgment if you're going to play budget, or playing Solitude. Solitude is probably better if you can afford it because, you know, while it doesn't wipe the board, I mean, it is free, so it can help deal with, like, stuff that you got to deal with early on. Plus, it's more life gain, too, so when you actually cast it for 5 mana, you can start attacking. If you can start attacking, it's big game to gain the life. I mean, you know, why am I having to explain that Solitude's a good card? But on the other hand, you know, doubling up on Wrath, like against Affinity, for example, might be a dramatic difference in matchup percentage that way. So, like, it might be much closer if I'm only packing Solitude and 4 Wraths. So there is that. Oh, another thing too is I'm kind of thinking maybe instead of Reckoner Bankbuster, I'm kind of thinking of good old-fashioned Crucible of Worlds. Yeah, again, so I can't pull it up. Just it's a 3-mana artifact, and just it basically lets you play lands from your graveyard. So, you know, it's kind of cool. I would probably have to replace the castles with blast zones. Honestly, I think if you're playing either Solitude or Dismember, I think you have enough ability to interact in the early game that you probably don't need. Uh, yeah, you probably can get away with playing a bunch of brown lands. There is an argument to be made that perhaps instead of Oust, you should just play Dismember, just because you can play Dismember off of brown mana, or you can't with Oust. But we'll see. Anyhow, yeah. The thing I like about Crucible Worlds is just that in the matchups where it's good, like recurring the fields is just amazing, and obviously in the aggro type matchups, recurring Blast Zone is just game over. So there's that. But anyhow, I think until next time, folks. I think you know, just I just if you want to try this deck, try it with a grain of salt. You're gonna have to be very you have to play it very cautiously, and also keep in mind that you probably just can't beat some of the more combo-oriented decks like Storm. It's probably just not going to happen. Nadu's probably pretty tough too. Anyway, but I do want to say thank you to the patrons: Sneaks, the Big Mamu, B0812, Paul Wynn, Adrian King, um, Gavin Downard, Savagews, Kevin Robach, Ronald Schoenman, S. Robertson, HJCLU, Jason RK, Aaron Lopez, G. Cole Smith, Michael Patton. So thank you to everybody here who's supporting me. It's much appreciated. And until next time, I hope you all have a great magicking time. Modern Horizons 3 has been a little hit or miss for me. I mean, I liked trying out some new stuff, but the combo is getting a little bit crazy. But I don't know. For now, I think I'll leave it as it is. And I guess, yeah, I hope you all